minutes. Does the public know that we have survivors here? They know already, isn't it? Because it's in the program.
It is in the program, yes.
Okay. Okay, so that's my speech. Yes, if you like. Yes, yeah, sure. You can also get something to drink.
Just give me 1 minute.
So good morning, everyone. My name is Bernd Böttiger. I'm chairing this session together with Professor Andy Lockie and Kashua from Sri Lanka. Please help me with your last name. Kaushila. Kaushila is your last name. And your first name?
My first name is my surname. Just call me Kaushila.
Okay, Kaushila. Okay. And it is a great pleasure and honor for us to be on stage here and to give you at first a brief introduction into World Restart a Heart. And we are not alone on stage, but we have two very special guests. Welcome to Bert and Ann, and I will come back to you a little bit later. Please let me first introduce very briefly how World Restart a Heart came into our world, and I'm happy to see Marius here because we went together to the European Commission on Health together with others. Maret was also with us, and this was one of the initial steps for establishing World Restart a Heart at the end. In 2012, we asked 400 members of the European Parliament to sign a written declaration on a Cardiac Arrest Awareness Week. We have heard, someone's phone is ringing, we have heard in the opening ceremony that we have had the 10th anniversary just a few days ago, and Marius mentioned that very nicely during our opening ceremony. So we were able together to find 400 signatures from members of the European Parliament to help us to support, and from this very moment on, the thing was rolling. We had the first European Restart a Heart Day in 2013, and it already had its motto, Children Saving Lives, so we were already focusing on children. Again, in 2016, each year it has a separate motto. In 2016, we said already, and I'm looking to Federico now, we already said this is the Kids Save Lives is the motto of 2016. And in 2017, Andy and myself and others came up with the idea to ask ILCOR, the International Liaison Committee on Resuscitation, whether we should expand this most successful European movement to the whole world. And very fortunately, and we can be proud and very happy that we have the two leads of ILCOR together with us here in the room, which is Bob Newma and Gavin Perkins. And they immediately supported this idea, and from 2018 on we had the European Restart a Heart Day transferred to the world. It is always on October 16 or the weeks before and after, and I'm sure that many in the room are participating or will participate or have participated and will participate in World Restart a Heart also in the future. So 2018 was the first. 2019 was extremely successful because we have trained 5.6 million people in the world, face-to-face lay people, I mean we all together, in how to do CPR, and we have reached more than 200 million by social media. Then the pandemic came, but we are again recovering, and we are just bringing the numbers from last year together. And last year, only in India, more than 900,000 lay people have been trained how to do CPR face to face. And with this, I give the microphone to Professor Andy Lockie.
Thank you very much. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take you on a very swift tour around the world. First of all with a series of videos, and then with a series of short presentations to give you an idea of the amazing work that has been done in the name of World Restart a Heart and the amazing plans that are yet to come, because this is an initiative that will go on and on. So if we could have the video, please.
Hello. This is Vinay Nadkarni, a longtime volunteer for the American Heart Association. Now more than ever, bystander CPR is important. According to our CARES registry report from 2020, survival from out-of-hospital cardiac arrest dropped by 14%, bystander AED use dropped by 26%, and bystander CPR dropped by 2% over the pandemic era. These numbers underscore the importance of bystander CPR and AED use, and the American Heart Association's World Restart a Heart Day campaign in 2021 focused on increasing bystander CPR rates and educating awareness for action on the 2 easy steps of hands-only CPR. Because of the pandemic, we focused on digital training opportunities, which actually expanded the reach of World Restart a Heart. Some elements of the AHA campaign, including the launch of a toolkit with resources for the field colleagues, more than 400,000 to use with key messaging and social media resources. An intense social media campaign reached more than 386,000 individuals. A hands-only CPR demo that was live streamed on World Restart a Heart Day received more than 4,000 live views, and a Train the Trainer event that was conducted in conjunction with the Heart and Stroke Foundation of India trained more than 4,500 individuals over the span of 3 days with AHA training materials. And then those individuals pledged to train more than 300,000 potential bystanders on hands-only CPR. Remarkably, in the pandemic era, the American Heart Association's World Restart a Heart campaign for 2021 is estimated to have reached more than 500 million individuals. Go World Restart a Heart. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity for me to speak today. My name is Tegan Meir and I'm the Communications and Engagement Manager for the New Zealand Resuscitation Council. I'll be speaking today on World Restart a Heart Day 2021 in New Zealand and Australia. So in New Zealand, we focused mainly on Kids Save Lives, the CPR Save My Life campaign, and promoting the AED Locations app. So for the event itself, earlier in 2021, there was an event called the Field Days, which had 100,000 people attend. At that event, there was a health hub, which was teaching people CPR. At that event, the New Zealand Minister of Health, Andrew Little, refreshed his CPR skills, which was great. We also had an event, like the rest of the world, on social media. We had 3 survivor stories for CPR Save My Life. So we had Kath and Merv, we had M, who was a 20-year-old cardiac arrest survivor, and then we also had Donnie and Janice, who are volunteer firefighters, and Janice saved Donnie's life when he had a cardiac arrest at home. There was also stories shared by the New Zealand national cricket team, the Black Caps. in collaboration with us. The Black Caps were wanting to promote their campaign to put AEDs in all cricket clubs throughout New Zealand, and they shared David's story as part of World Restart a Heart Day. World Restart a Heart Day in New Zealand has grown quite significantly, and we had a reach of 218,000 people in 2021, which is a big increase for us. So in Australia, there were two main groups. There was the Council of Ambulance Authorities and also the Heart of the Nation. So the Council of Ambulance Authorities focused on the 9 people that do not survive an out-of-hospital cardiac arrest. And for this campaign, it was social media mostly. And they asked people to share a video of them doing 9 compressions and then share that video to 9 people. They also worked with Build-A-Bear and created a bear for World Restart a Heart Day, which you can see in the corner there. And then we had the world's largest CPR course, which was run by the original Yellow Wiggle, Greg Page. As part of his World Restart a Heart Day events, he had 400 AEDs placed in convenience stores throughout Australia. And then he also had a TV event where it was the world's largest CPR course run on Channel 9, and there was an estimated reach of 25,000 people. Thank you for this brief update. We're really looking forward to 2020.
Hi there, my name is Farhan Banji and I'm a professor of pediatrics at McGill University and a member of Heart and Stroke's National Resuscitation Advisory Committee, and I'm pleased to speak on behalf of Heart and Stroke here. As many of you know, Heart and Stroke is a guideline-setting body for Canada and the source of official resuscitation science and education guidelines used by all CPR and AED training organizations in Canada. So naturally, Heart and Stroke is committed to restarting a heart. It's deep and it's unwavering. In 2021, Heart and Stroke continued to grow its bilingual national campaign, building on last year's success and introducing new ones. As examples, Heart and Stroke doubled its social media activity and showcased success stories of Canadians surviving cardiac arrest. We shared posters, infographics, and instructional videos to raise awareness of the signs of cardiac arrest and how to respond quickly. We engaged our employees and our network of more than 8,500 credentialed resuscitation instructors and stakeholders in Canada to help spread the word. We introduced a work activity for young children that explained World Restart a Heart through Heart Smart Kids, an online resource for educators, students, and families in partnership with Indigenous organizations and communities. Heart and Stroke also supported partners like McGill University, where I work. Our student-led group led an amazing initiative of in-person, online, social media, and traditional media activities, reaching hundreds of thousands of individuals nationally, and actually received 3 major national awards for their work over the past couple of years. All in all, Heart and Stroke reached over 2 million Canadians last year. Going forward this year, Heart and Stroke has a much stronger tailwind with its autumn launch of a resuscitation movement, which aims to broadly educate and train the public in resuscitation and at the same time improve the numbers and access to AEDs. Heart and Stroke will be introducing a new educational tool, a dynamic interactive video for student classrooms and workplaces with the goal of educating millions of people on cardiac arrest and teaching them the basics of CPR and AED use in a short period of time. The release of the tool will coincide with and support the ever-growing state of Heart and Stroke activities related to World Restart a Heart. And on a closing note, Heart and Stroke, as part of its commitment to equity, will place a stronger emphasis on gender and race-related issues when appropriate to World Restart a Heart. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to hearing more from our colleagues across the world.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Hayley, representing Resuscitation Council of Southern Africa. Just to give you a bit of an update as to what we got up to for World Restart a Heart Day in 2021. So first of all, we got hold of all of our instructors as well as our training centers and asked them to share across the various platforms, be it Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, using the hashtags World Restart a Heart Day. Your 2 hands can save a life. We also got into some of the schools as well as to UCT, one of our major universities. We handed out flyers. We did face-to-face training at the university, and obviously just tried to push this whole thing of check call and compressed. So bystander CPR saves lives, and that was our aim of the whole campaign. We were quite lucky that we managed to get people like St. John's involved, as well as the NSRI, which is our National Sea Rescue Institute, and they managed to reach over 20,000 people just in that time for themselves alone. In terms of radio, we did some radio interviews as well to try and push the My Two Hands Can Save a Life. And further to that, we then did a campaign looking for people who were still living, who could tell their story about how CPR had saved their life. So the hashtag we used there was CPR Saved My Life, and we managed to get 4 stories from very diverse backgrounds of how these people are now living their lives still post-resuscitation. Our reach wasn't as big as we expected it to be or what we hoped it to be, but we most certainly did get a big reach using both the hybrid approach, so being online as well as our face-to-face training. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you.
World Restart a Heart in India. The Indian Resuscitation Council Federation has been doing a great work and to make every citizen of India a lifesaver. It has started in 2017 by the ISA, and because it is less than 2% of the people aware of CPR in India, and 4,280 people per 1 lakh population are the victims of sudden cardiac arrest. Considering various limitations in the emergency medical systems, we have developed a very comprehensive resuscitation guidelines to make every citizen a lifesaver, involving school children, laymen, paramedics, doctors in a very cost-effective, sustainable way. Dr. Vinay Nadkarni, Andrew Locke, and Ben Buttinger have encouraged us to participate in the World Restart a Heart Day program since 2018. We established the comprehensive training centers in all paramedical and medical institutions and every district. In 2018, we trained about 200,000 lifesavers. In 2019, we trained about 500,000 lifesavers. In 2020, we released a postal cover and a stamp. And 2021, we trained about 930,000 lifesavers, including medical students and many online courses and the software of the Lardell and all. The print media, radio, and Doordarshan have cooperated very much so that we could propagate to 300 million people. In IRCF has got members from the pediatricians, cardiologists, emergency medicine physicians, and critical care experts. IRCF has been registered under Government of India Companies Act as a non-governmental, non-profit organization with Niti Aayog, Darpan. It has got a PAN, TAN, Income Tax Concession, ATG, 12A, and has a registered office. The Central Board of School Education has included CPR in the curriculum of 9th standard. The IRCF guidelines has been a part of the National Emergency Life Support Training Program of the Government of India. Some of the medical universities have made it mandatory to train their house surgeons before they issue the degree. It is a Make in India program, thanks to ILCOR, thanks to World Restart a Heart Day organization, Indian Resuscitation Council Federation. Thank you.
First of all, thank you very much for your invitation. For the park, I would like to inform you that most likely we are going to plan, as we have more open spaces this year and there is no curfew. Last year we are approximately reaching 120,000 candidate as formal training with the social media, approximately 600,000 to 700,000. This year we are planning to go more for the formal training and also the social media for awareness program, and we will update you with all figures for the BARC countries. Thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Dr. Lynn Thomas. I'm the Medical Director at St John Ambulance, England. We're delighted to support Restart a Heart Day. Last year we supported 16 St John countries to get involved in World Restart a Heart Day, and this year we're aiming for 30. Internally, in the UK, we managed to train 43,000 people in how to do CPR, and we're setting ourselves an ambitious target of 100,000 this year, and also hoping to take it to the centre of government with an event at the Palace of Westminster.
Hello, I'm Adrian Gill, the president of the World Federation of Societies of Anesthesiologists. We're a federation of 135 national societies of anesthesia around the world. I bring you greetings and good wishes for your current event. I want to share with you a challenge we set for ourselves at our World Congress of Anesthesiologists, and a challenge that others may wish to take. The challenge was, how many countries could we have simultaneously conducting CPR training at a specific time that was a lunchtime on a Saturday in Central Europe? I'm proud and delighted to inform you that we had over close to 1,000 volunteers and 103 countries simultaneously having documented CPR training taking place. I challenge those of you at this conference to take the challenge, see if you can beat us at how many countries participate simultaneously. Enjoy your event. Best wishes from WFSA.
Much. You'll have seen there a vast diversity of approaches to train and to get awareness around CPR. And that's what World Restart a Heart is all about. It's not about one size fits all. It's about doing whatever is right and whatever is effective in each individual setting. And I know that some of those presenters are hopefully joining us online as well and seeing this session and seeing your response to the presentation so far. But we have a few more brief presentations from within the room, from people who've been able to attend. So I'd like to start, first of all, by inviting Swehan to come up on behalf of the Resuscitation Councils of Asia. Thank you, Swehan.
Yeah, first I must congratulate ERC for putting this together, and this is my first overseas face-to-face meeting since February 2020. So these are the member of Resuscitation Council of Asia. Next slide is this one. Oh, okay. Yes, this is my conflict of interest, or the academic conflict of interest, and because due to COVID-19 pandemic and most of the activities organized for Restart the Heart in 2020 and 2021 were done virtually. You know, for example, in Singapore, in May to October 2021, we saw a surge in infection leading to tightened safety measure. So at one point, allowing only 2 persons per group in a social setting. And I will talk about the World Restart Heart Day activities organized by 3 of the RCA members, Japan, Singapore, and South Korea. So in Singapore, we celebrate World Restart Heart 2021 virtually, and then we get our number 2 man on Ministry of Health, Dr. Ko Pokun. He's a colorectal surgeon by training, and he shared the plans to equip migrant worker dormitory with public access AED, and also train the residents in the respective CPR and AED skill. And we also have a survivor sort of celebrations, and we video 2 survivor, Miss Angela. You know, he had a sudden cardiac arrest, and fortunately there is the passerby, you know, the dragon boat roller, and also Brian, who they are all trained in CPR, so they called the 995, you know, for the ambulance, and continue doing chest compression until helps arrive. And the other cardiac arrest survivor, Yen, you know, he all he could remember is that he went to get a cup of coffee, and he can't remember after that. And so he developed a cardiac arrest. And fortunately, in his company, all the colleagues are trained in CPR, so managed to provide continuous CPR until the arrival of the ambulance service. And also, Marcus, I think everybody know him. He gave a talk. He's a director of pre-hospital emergency care in the Ministry of Health. He gave a talk on our cardiac arrest survivor. And the encouraging effect is that because of the dispatcher CPR, so our bystander CPR rate is as high as 60, and also 10% of the victims receive pre-hospital defibrillation. And then I give a talk on the importance of gasping, as well as the Singapore Heart Foundation. The volunteers give a talk on how to improvise, use the daily object to improvise mannequin, so that they can practice CPR at home, like water bottle, toilet roll, and all that. Yes, and we switched to JRC. JRC and Japan and Korea, South Korea, they have the out-of-hospital survival rate is much higher than Singapore, and they have very advanced system of out-of-hospital cardiac arrest implementation. And so what they do, they also celebrate World Restart a Heart Day. The medical student, a virtual training, Federico will like this, and also the lunchtime, 30 minutes CPR training using the mannequin. Sort of collaboration with LADRA, and also they also have one of their society of the School of Nutrition. Okay, they gathered together and have training in CPR. Right, in Korea, unfortunately, in 2021 they don't have any activities. So in 2020, they have competition, for school children, painting competition on a theme of AED, cardiac arrest, and also they donated AED to the schools. Yeah, so these are some of the wonderful pictures. And so this year, most countries, we are opening up the border, means that you can come to the country without quarantine, all right? So we will celebrate the Restart Heart as a face-to-face event, just that we may have to wear masks, as still required by law in Singapore in indoor activities. Yeah, this is my email address, and if you want to come to Singapore, please drop me a note. I'm more than happy to show it around.
Thank you so much. Again, wonderful, and I think we'll all be visiting. So coming back to Europe now, I'd like to introduce Nadine to come to the stage and tell us a little bit about activities within Europe.
Next slide. Hello, everyone. I'm Nadine Roth from Cologne in Germany. My conflict of interest is that I'm also working for the German Resuscitation Council. And I will tell you about Europe's activities during the last World Restart a Heart Day. Of course, all of the countries in Europe had their own special approaches, and I cannot tell you about each individual project and each individual face-to-face training. So I will focus on the social media campaign CPR Saved My Life that we did all over Europe and even the world. The idea for this motto came from the UK because they did it prior. And they told us that the campaign was really successful in adding a human element to the event, and it really helped hit home the variety of ages that cardiac arrest affected. The idea was to gather survivor stories. We asked survivors of cardiac arrest to send us a picture with a sign with the name and the age and the hashtag on it. You can see one example from Greece. And but not all of the countries interpreted this their own way. So we can see different interpretations of this motto. We have examples from the UK where instead of a picture with a poster, we have pictures and a story with them. We have people with their family members celebrating, so for example, the wedding, and these are family members that saved their lives a few years prior. So they are celebrating that they can even do the wedding or the vacation only because their family members saved them beforehand. Or in Germany, for example, instead of asking for this picture, we asked survivors and also people that saved them to send us a quick video with their story. And we received a lot of incredible stories. I have 2 examples here. For one, we have Kia, who saved a 13-year-old fellow student's life during the school break by doing CPR. Or we have a minister who had a cardiac arrest during his own mass and then was resuscitated by churchgoers. We have a lot of these incredible stories, so please check the hashtag if you want to know more stories. And please continue sharing these stories.
Thank you so much. And certainly in the UK, we have just reached our milestone that we trained our 1 millionth person in Restart a Heart last year. And the power of Restart a Heart is also really beneficial in that we've finally got CPR as a mandatory element for school children in all 4 nations of the UK. And that's down to a lot of work through Restart a Heart. So it does make a difference. Naomi, can I invite you to the stage, please?
Thank you.
2.5 minutes.
This one.
Yeah.
Okay. Good morning. In Brazil, we have more than 200 people living and more than 30 children and adolescents. So we started in February, Kids Save Lives Brazil, with the participation of associate professors of University of São Paulo Medical School and postgraduates and undergraduate students. The motivation was to help people to have scholarships, to work with kids, but most important, to do something important and meaningful for their lives. We have already performed more than 6,363 face-to-face trainings, more than 900 online trainings, and now we are training people, children between 3 to 7 years with music and drama. It's very nice to see these kids. And we also published 1 book, 1 folder, 6 cartoons for children, 15 instructive videos, 4 instructions cards, and we have a site, institutional site. Please see Kids Save Lives Brazil. We also have performed some academic, scientific, political, and social media activities. We have 5 survivors reports, and we also have this São Paulo State Law project. More important, we have these 4 reports that Bianca saved her grandfather, Benedita saved her grandchild, Vitória saved her son, and Janine saved her father. These are the motivation of our Kids Save Lives Brazil. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you for making the journey from Brazil to join us here today. It's lovely to finally see you in 3 dimensions. We've only ever met online before. So we now travel to Sri Lanka, and I'd like to invite my good friend Nilmini to come to the stage.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, I bring you warm wishes from Sri Lanka to the ERC Congress. and I don't have any financial conflicts of interest. And we started World Restart Heart project in March 2019. And the first World Restart Heart Day was conducted on the 16th of October 2019 with the guidance and support from our founder members who are sitting here next to us. And for the year 2021, we found 3 stories of CPR Saved My Life. We hashtagged and posted them on social media. And we were planning a lot for the 2021, but unfortunately the COVID pandemic stopped us doing any face-to-face training. So we created posters and videos which were shared on the social media, and we had the national TV and the radio channels supporting us to spread the word about the World Restart Heart Day. And we created a celebrity dance with the Pillow Partner, which was a collaboration with the Yorkshire Ambulance Service in the United Kingdom. And so we planned virtual CPR training, and the publicity was given by making 3 posters in all 3 languages. And then we initiated training the trainers with Anywhere QCPR's classroom, which was a joint venture with the Indian Resuscitation Council and the Ledel India. So we trained 180 trainers altogether. Then we started doing the virtual training, which was conducted 3 times a day from 16th October to 31st of October. And the program was, we played a training video in all 3 languages, depending on the participants. And then we did orientation on how to perform CPR using QCPR Classroom app or through the Zoom camera. And then we divided them into breakout rooms where the participants were doing the training. So we invited public, school children, 5 out of 7 medical schools participated in this, and we had few hybrid sessions as well. So we monitored their performance using Zoom camera or the QCPR app. So we had few hands-on sessions for hospital staff, because the country was in lockdown and it just recently opened only just before 16th of October, and we created the Student Save Lives project for the medical schools. So we conducted some hybrid sessions as well. And one highlight was the national football team hybrid training, where we updated them on Ericsson's collapse, so it made it real for them. And so altogether, we have trained 4,900 people using the virtual QCPR Classroom app. And thanks to all our dedicated trainers who were conducting this training 3 times a day for 2 weeks. And I thank you for the opportunity given to represent Sri Lanka in this forum. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nulmini. And you mentioned one of our sort of industry partners, of which Tor Ledel, who's at the back of the room, has just come in, and I know that he's helped. His company have helped you considerably with your Restart Heart efforts in Sri Lanka. So Restart Heart isn't just about individual country organisations. You've already heard from St John Ambulance on the video, the World Federation Society of Anesthesiologists. And our final speaker in this category at the moment is Pascal, who represents the International Federation of Red Cross, who have been huge, huge partners to Restart Heart. Bonjour.
Thank you.
Merci.
Merci. I have no conflict of interest, except I'm French, nobody's perfect. An addict on CPR and first aid since a long time. I don't say how many years, because after you know that I'm very old. It's very clear that we have the pleasure to be a global first aid reference center. This global first aid reference center, we collaborate with 192 national societies. It's absolutely fantastic. Of course, within the Red Cross, Red Crescent national societies, and it's very important for us. And since a long time, we work very closely with the European Resuscitation Council, but also with the International Liaison Committee on Resuscitation.
It's very clear that IFRC has a huge collaboration with the International Liaison Committee on Resuscitation and the European Resuscitation Council. And just for your information, we are teaching to more than 23 million people per year, and probably more. And it's very important for us to try to harmonize and not to standardize the first aid and resuscitation. And it was a pleasure to be member of this family to save lives, with effectively to promote resuscitation within first aid, because for us it's just a part of first aid. And for 2020, for example, we sent to all the 192 national society a tool pack, and we try to harmonize their action and the collaboration with all the resuscitation councils all around the world. We send them a guidance. We said playlists, posters, and special report of the American Heart Association too. During the 2020 first edition, also we have some tools, interesting tools, especially of course playlists and also the story of survivor. It was very interesting because for sure all around the world, and as you can see with our colleague, it's very clear that this story of the survivor is essential to motivate people. And we have some photo of the 2020 21st also celebration, and it's very clear that all around the world the same spirit is here to save life all together with no discrimination. Everybody is important in the community, and doesn't matter the color of the skin or the idea of politics or other. The Red Cross is absolutely neutral, and we want to facilitate the first aid and resuscitation to all the community, and really also, of course, people who are suffering. So it's very clear that, as you said, and we have also some very fantastic story of saving life, and it was, of course, a pleasure to underline that in all countries. Concerning the 2022, we are continuing, of course, to work together. And we sent many tools to our national society. So thank you very much, and we can be in touch in the future. Thank you.
Just want to dwell on one fact that was presented in that last presentation. There are 194 countries in the world. Pascal and his organisation have cascaded World Restart Our Heart messaging to 192 countries. That's 98.9%, Pascal. You could do better. We want those final two countries, okay? Is one of them France? But what we've seen there, and there are so many other stories, and I'm sure there are people in the room who've got their own stories of World Restart Our Heart. And the activity, despite the challenges, has been, continues to be, and will still be phenomenal. So a huge thank you for now from myself and Bernd as the World Restart Our Heart co-chairs, but hopefully you'll hear some organisational thanks as well in later on in the presentation, but a huge thanks for everything that you do. So I'm going to hand over the chair of this session now to Kaushila.
Thank you, Professor Lockie. So I'd like to remind you how you can interact and ask questions. If you go to the ERC Congress app, there's a tab on our session on the World Restart the Heart Day, and then there is a resource section which you can use the Slido to ask questions. So I'm really honored to introduce the next speaker. He's Dr. Federico Semeraro. He needs no introduction, but I'd like to remind you he's the chair-elect of ERC and has been a proud supporter of the World Restart a Heart Day for many years. And he's also from the Italian Resuscitation Council, who has initiated many activities related to social media use and technology for BLS. So over to you, Dr. Federico Semeraro. May the force be with you.
Always. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. First of all, we are back. We are here, and this is amazing. Because we love social media, we love virtual reality, I have a lot of conflict of interest about that. I love ILCOR, ERC, Kids Save Life, all the strange things around the world, but we are back, and this is real. Okay, as you know, we released the last guideline last year, based on a very nice scoping review, based on ILCOR scoping review. We suggested that awareness should be a very strong initiative in Europe, worldwide, because this is very important to increase information in the community, probably to increase information also in healthcare professionals, because sometimes they are closing their hospital, closing their ambulance. So my professional life changed in 2012 when European Parliament put a lot of effort, and thank you to Marius, thank you to Bernd, thank you to all the stakeholders in Europe, because from 2013, I was closing my hospital, I was closing my ambulance. I started to work with the community, speak with the community, and we are very proud that last 40th of June we celebrate 10 years of this anniversary. Obviously, we did on social media, because we are addicted about social media. And as you know, worldwide there are a lot of platforms, Facebook, WhatsApp, YouTube, WeChat in China. So we have a lot of tools. Unfortunately, we are really addicted, probably too much. And this was my last very nice memory before COVID. 300 teachers on the street, certificate BLS, and was amazing experience, was real. And unfortunately, we also need to use social media to keep alive World Start. And have you seen how many activities worldwide? We did it also during pandemia, because it was hard, but we continue to work on engaged population. And I want to be very brief. We ask survivors to demonstrate that you can restart your life as before. And now we need to find a very good way to measure the impact on social media, but there is some gray, I can say, science about the number and how this campaign can impact on the real life, on bystander CPR, survival to hospital discharge. So probably we need to measure, and probably we need to share with all the community a lot of message, and probably we need to use, like Leonard Nimoy, this was his last tweet. He was very engaged in awareness for COPD. So may the force be with you again, and live long and prosper to World Startup Day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Federico Semraro, for that very interesting talk. I will now hand over the chair to Professor Bogtide.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much again to all of you for being here and for participating and for bringing this forward. I can tell you it's really touching to me to see what has been developed over the last years with World Restart Heart. And I mean, this is not pure science, this is not a randomized controlled trial what we are doing, but we all know and we have seen that this has an impact on the whole world, and it will help to save hundreds of thousands of lives worldwide in the future, and some have already been saved already. So we are changing the world into a positive one. And with this, it is a great pleasure for me to look to the two guests that we have on stage today. And we just met personally at the beginning of this session, so we haven't met before. We just had a brief email contact, and I would very much like to introduce to you Anne Leclève and Berit Wollard. You're both from Belgium, and I will not tell you more than this, and I will probably like to ask the two of you to further introduce yourself, if you like, and to tell us why you are here and what you have experienced some months ago, if you like.
Okay.
So first of all, but wait a moment, you will get an applause from all of us that you are here today. Anne, if you like to start.
Do we have to go there? Or?
It's up to you. You can sit here, or you can go to the microphone, whatever you
Yeah,
like.
okay.
Shall I?
Yeah.
Can I start?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Whatever you like.
It's thanks to you all that I'm still here. I survived 2 cardiac arrests last year, the 26th of December. We went for a walk. Anne and me, we are friends since a year, and we met each other not so much, but that day we were there, and we had a walk together, and after the walk we came home at Anne's place, and there we were talking to each other at the table, just quiet.
I had some Christmas cake,
yeah,
so
indeed,
I
yeah.
invited him over.
And suddenly, without any signs, I was away.
He collapsed. He fell on the floor, and I saw a tooth sliding over my floor, and that's what made me aware there's something going on here. So I went over. He was on his face down, and the most difficult part for me was to turn him over, because as you can see,
I weighed from 120 kilos.
You have to know I'm a nurse, and I'm a well-trained nurse, but at that moment I panicked. And I turned him over. I saw there was no reaction, there was nothing, and I immediately started CPR. And afterwards, I think it was for 3 or 4 minutes, he regained consciousness, and only then I made the call for help. So that, for me, that's something very important. Even when you're very well trained, you can panic. And then he regained consciousness, the medics came, and then for a second time, he had a second cardiac arrest. And then I think in a few moments of time, my place was filled with people. There were advanced life support, fire brigade, more than 10 persons sliding away my furniture. Everything was like a battlefield.
I can say it was very nice to wake up. It really was. It was. I felt very calm, without panic, but I had no strength. I couldn't move anymore. I wasn't afraid. It was all. I was calm. I realized there was something wrong, I think, with my heart, but there was no pain. I had no pain, and I saw you were doing well, so it all happened to me. I also can tell you I had 2 very nice almost death experiences. I can say it was wonderful. It was nice.
He didn't want to come back.
I didn't want to come back, indeed. I was in a warm room with color, orange, red, yellow, and there were voices in the room, and it was a very nice place. I didn't want to come back, but I had to, and it was special because I had two same almost death experiences. The next time, the second time, I had the same experience. And when I woke up, I remember I said I really had a wonderful dream in Dutch. Huh? I didn't say it in English, but I had a really wonderful dream. And yeah.
So then everybody was working. I had to make phone calls to the family, to the daughter, and was very busy. And then suddenly he goes through the window in the ambulance to the hospital, and I was all alone. My place was like really a battlefield, and I called my son. And then he came, he listened to me, we arranged the apartment. And at that time, it was very important to have somebody with me. And what's very, very weird, 5 months later, I performed a second resuscitation on the street by a traffic accident. It was a person I did not know. I saw the accident happening, and I helped the medics. I performed basic CPR, and then the paramedics could take their gear and the monitor and everything. And I wanted to make a little comparison between the two of them. When you are emotionally attached to a person, that makes it a lot more difficult to resuscitate. It's very, very difficult to resuscitate someone you love than a stranger. The second thing is that the stranger, I don't know the outcome. And it would always be like a question for me, was it okay or not? Or that's it.
Thank you so very much for this. We are all very touched. And maybe, nevertheless, I would like to ask you one or two questions, if that is, if that is okay. Maybe I start with a technical one. So did chest compressions and ventilation, or only chest? So as you have learned it as a nurse? Yeah, okay. And but maybe there's. Can I take a question from the room? Is there any question from your side to these two people? Wait a moment. Andy is coming with a microphone.
Okay, my name is Kyriakos from Cyprus. I'm a nurse. I want to ask you, did you have a near-death experience during this cardiac arrest situation?
Of dat je een bijna doodervaring hebt gehad.
I don't call it for myself an almost death experience, but an almost back to life experience. Because when I got down, it all was black. There was nothing. But when Anne had success to resuscitate me, I think the blood was back in my brains, and that's why I thought I was in a wonderful room. that was when life started again. So it wasn't not almost dead, it was almost back alive.
Did your life change after that?
Yes,
attitude
indeed.
behavior?
I had to say that too. I was a smoker since 15 years. I smoked tobacco for 45 years. And I knew that moment I had to stop. And I still stopped smoking. Yeah.
What's also important,
after 45 years. Yeah.
He has a son. The boy is 15 years old and he has the disease of Duchenne. So he's very, very needed for the boy, and that makes it wonderful. Right.
Just looking around, there's another question to you. Yes, please.
Yes, thank you. My name is Alice Hutton. I'm a pre-hospital physician in Paris. And I just really wanted to thank you for being here, because it's in France, at least, it's not something that we do often to give to emphasize survivors. And I think it's really something that motivates us all here, and it's really important to see that what we do is for people like you, and to see you here today is really what makes it worth it. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And finally, I'm looking around whether there is anything else what you would like to say or to question. If I may ask you, both of you, separately, a final question. And the question is, what would you like to tell us here for what we are doing and for what we should probably do in the future?
Keep on the good work.
Indeed, it is a wonderful. It's also wonderful for me to be here. I never expected to be here. I'm also a social worker, and I knew what it is to resuscitate. I know the technique, but I never expected to be the patient. So I always thought I'm not gonna need these techniques, but it's important to remember when you do a training, you can always be in the situation like Anne. And it is a wonderful feeling to be here with you. Yeah.
Andy has a question on Slido.
There's one question on Slido, and I think what you've also articulated really well is that cardiac arrest is not just about cardiac arrest management or training people how to save a life, but there's a huge ongoing impact for both survivors and also for first responders. And you've alluded to that briefly, but we've got one final question online, which is, what support do you think should be in place? And I'm going to put the question to both of you, to survivors, but also to those who have been the first responder. I think you mentioned briefly about the uncertainty of what happened to that second person. So maybe some brief comments on what you think would be rewarding.
In Bert's case, after 3 days later, the cardiologist, he called me, and he wanted to know what happened, what I have witnessed, and I felt hurt. So I could tell my story to him. He really wanted to know what happened, and for me that was very important. Yeah.
To be honest, I didn't understand the question.
So is there, as a survivor of cardiac arrest, it is not always the fact that everything comes back to normal straight away. Is there anything that you believe that survivors need ongoing? Any support? Anything that you would have wanted?
Hij vraagt wat dat je nodig hebt als overlever.
I was very pleased from the reactions from both my children and family after it. It felt nice.
Good. And that is what we would all expect. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And I need the help of the nice lady behind, because Andy and myself, we thought... This is really a special moment for all of us, and maybe also for you. So, how are we doing this way? Thank you very much for what you brought to us today. So this is very, very motivating to all of us, and have a nice life, and be the force with you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All the best. Thank you.
So we now have one final session, one final talk. The World Restart a Heart Initiative has been formally adopted by the International Liaison Committee on Resuscitation. And the process, as you've seen, has involved many of the different partners of ILCOR, but also other partners as well. So it's an inclusive approach, and I'd like to just invite to the podium the two co-chairs of ILCOR, who are really glad to, that you're with us here today. And if you can come and just say a few words about what ILCOR thinks about World Restart a Heart, hopefully something nice.
Yes, of course. Hello, everyone. I'm Bob Newmar from the United States. My co-chair, Gavin Perkins, and I are just delighted to be here to help celebrate this gift to the world is what I think World Restart a Heart is. And there's nothing more I can say that hasn't already been exemplified by Anne and Bert here, who are living proof of why this is so important and why this is so impactful. As you may know, the International Liaison Committee on Resuscitation really is an international organization that is trying to advance resuscitation across the world. You can see here a list of our member councils, and I'll highlight there that we're truly an international organization, but we can't really yet call ourselves a global organization because we continue to need representation from other parts of the world that aren't listed in that list there. And the World Restart a Heart program, we feel is really achieved that, and we heard 192 countries out of 194 countries. So we're delighted to have World Restart a Heart officially within the umbrella of ILCOR, because it helps us move towards our mission of being a global organization, improving lives globally across the world. Is this gonna? Yeah, and just to illustrate that, this is our mission. To save more lives globally through resuscitation. And one of the things that's also aligned, although most of what we do in our daily work is do evidence evaluation and create guidelines, one of the things you'll see is that the line there talking about a global dashboard of cardiac arrest registries to measure impact. So one of the things we're going to try to do moving forward is actually try to measure across the world how cardiac arrest resuscitation is advancing and how survival is improving. And again, we'll have a mechanism to even measure the impact of programs like World Restart a Heart to see how we're truly improving survival across the globe. So the strategy for ILCOR is mainly having task forces that focus on the different components of resuscitation, all the way from advanced life support down through pediatric and neonatal, as well as first aid. And that's our main work. The task force is doing the evidence evaluation, but we've recently expanded the scope of the organization to include a number of committees that are focused on helping us achieve our mission of having impact. And World Restart Our Heart now is an official committee within ILCOR, which provides infrastructure for World Restart Our Heart to advance its programs. I mean, you don't need a whole lot more infrastructure if you've got 192 countries already involved. But we can help, with the reach of ILCOR through our member councils, get further impact, within those regions. And then World Restart Our Heart, I think, will help ILCOR reach out to regions that aren't currently represented in our member councils. So I think it's very much going to be a synergistic relationship to advance what we want to do. And you can see one of our other committees is diversity and membership, and what we're trying to do is reach out more globally to bring in more representation across the world, to even do the evaluation of the science and make treatment recommendations that really take into account different environments, different cultures, different socioeconomic conditions, to actually be able to have then those local communities adapt the ideal strategies for improving cardiac arrest recognition, treatment, and survival that I think is aligned with our entire mission. So with that, I think I'll give it to my partner, Gavin, for any additional comments that he might have.
Yeah, no, thank you, Bob, and thank you to the leadership of World Restart Our Heart for pulling together such a vibrant, enthusiastic, and successful component. If it's okay, I'd like to ask everybody that's been involved in World Restart Our Heart in any way to stand up now, please. Because on behalf of ILCOR, we would like to applaud you for your fantastic work. And those that aren't, stand up. There's World Restart Our Heart 2022.
Thank you very much, Bob and Gavin, and thank you for bringing to a close this session with the support of ILCOR, which we really, really appreciate. We're on time. We have no other questions on Slido. I think we've heard some wonderful stories of activity from around the world. We've heard an amazing story of why it's really important. So thank you very much for your participation today. And World Restart Our Heart will still happen again this year, 16th of October. Be part of it. Thank you very much. Could I just ask the speakers to come to the front, so we can have a photograph, please?